some people are just too stubborn for their own good, aren't they?
Yeah, well, the reason we're talking about it is this is a huge week with South Sydney in the first grand final in 43 years. And it's a big story because South Sydney was kicked out of the competition in the late 1990s. There was a huge public campaign to get them back in. It was very much South Sydney and the people against News Limited and Rupert Murdoch, and they won in court. They got back into the competition, and George Piggins was the driving force behind that. Now, South then fell on hard times. Russell Crowe came in to buy the club, and anyone who buys a club is buying the right to pay their debts. But George opposed it vehemently. And even to today, with Souths having been transformed, because Crowe was right. Crowe has been a huge success for Souths, and he is largely why they are in the position they're in today, challenging for a premiership, hot favourites to pick up a premiership. But George Piggins, he says he's resolved a lot of his issues, but says he won't go to the game. Now, he would, if he was at that game, he would be feted by the fans. He'd be treated like a rock star.
He doesn't have to turn up. He doesn't need a ticket. They'll just let him through.
That's right.
The crowd would carry him through and then carry him right around the stadium. He's such a hero to them. And yet he can't get over this issue that he has with the ownership of the club and what took place there all those years ago. And he's got to be able to move on. I mean, how many, not just football clubs, but how many families around this city and this country have been split asunder because of a streak of stubbornness in someone, and they just can't move past the original argument.
Yeah, even if you're prepared to say, look, I disagreed with what happened, I still disagree with what happened, but what I do acknowledge is the club's been hugely successful under the new ownership. You could even say, I still think it would have been successful under the old ownership, but this has been a huge success. I'm going along with all these other people. We've been taking calls today from people who've been knitting scarves, who were there in 1967, who were there in 1971, who are looking forward to going again. He should be there with them.
Surely. Come on, George. I mean, imagine just sitting at home watching it on your own on TV, or sharing the whole emotion of that day with 70, 80, 100,000 people.
No brainer.